Hey guys, how are ya? jpsarrireviews here. Welcome again to another video reaction. And today I want to talk about Iron Studios again, like I did last week. It was probably the video that I filmed at the end of last week. Because Iron Studios keeps just producing stuff, and it never stops. It's amazing what the company is doing. So on Friday, they released, after I uploaded my video, they released a Sabretooth that looks amazing. But also, they have released an Omega Red and a Bishop this week. So in this video, I want to break down the information that we have so far, the good and the bad, what I like and what I don't like, and ultimately let you know if you need to add this to the collection or not. So the next couple of minutes, stay tuned. Alright guys, I'm here at Iron Studios website, and as usual, I will have the link in the description for those who are interested, so you can follow the link. But here it says Sabretooth. This is the first one we're going to discuss today. The Sabretooth BDS R scale 110, of course, Marvel Comics. It's $169.99, which is now the average for what they're selling for Marvel pieces. You can pay in full, or you can choose the payment plan and give you the option of 5 payments. And of course, some pre-order. And if you go to the description, it says, showing his fangs in an insane smile, Iron Studios proudly presents Sabretooth BDS R scale 110 Marvel Comics, its first statue of Marvel's brutal mutant villain, on what remains of the hand of a Sentinel robot amid the wreckage of a demolished Mansion X. Victor Creed, known as Sabretooth, displays his claws ready to release all his wild nature. An incorrigible, homicidal psychopath, Wolverine's greatest rival is a mutant with bestial superhuman abilities, healing factor, fangs, sharp claws, and superhuman senses. With a sculpture that presents realistic aspects in his most classic costume. Well, I need to correct that because this is not the most classic costume. Maybe it's the most recognizable now, but this is the Jim Lee era costume. The classic one was the one before it. All divided into sewn scraps with fins on the cuffs of his gloves that refer to sharp blades. This heavyweight mutant comes tearing up to add to the Iron Studios art collection. And of course, there's Sabretooth BDS R scale 110, licensed Marvel Comics. The scale 110, we know that. Features limited edition, made in polystone, hand painted, and then of course you got the product dimensions, and he weighs 1.7 pounds, and released in the fourth quarter of 2020, which we know it's not going to happen based on previous history. So now let's look at the pictures. And definitely this is classic Jim Lee, just the style, even the portrait. But I gotta point this out. I'm not a big fan of this portrait. It reminds me of the video game Sabretooth, but not necessarily of the Jim Lee Sabretooth. It's more like what came after. You know, as you know, after Jim Lee left Marvel Comics, there were a lot of artists doing pretty much a style that was more cartoony. And I think this is what the look comes from, you know, in my opinion, that face. I'm not really a fan of the way he's smiling and how he has in this case, he has a big body, so he has to have a big head. But it's kind of, I don't know, his cheeks are kind of chunky. It's fine. I'm not tearing it down. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's not, in my opinion, the best interpretation of depiction of Sabretooth's face compared to other pieces. But the body, man, just the body looks fantastic, and the paint job is great. Look at the arm of the Sentinel cut like that. I've always been against this idea of Sabretooth cutting things like this. Like, you know, this is a perfect cut. Like somebody used a blade to cut it. And sometimes the idea that he's, you know, in this case, his claws are perfectly sharp, you know, but in my opinion, I don't think even if he cut his arm, it wouldn't look like that. It will be more like, you know, in this case, claw cutting something, and not like a perfect cut. But of course, it's just me nitpicking about little things here and there. I'm just like realistic approach to certain things. But man, the body looks great. And now looking on the side, he definitely looks like the video game. I think that's where the inspiration came from. And I had nothing against it because I love the Marvel versus Capcom video games. And Sabretooth is a big part of it. So, yeah, you know, it looks great. I love the paint application that was done here. Nice shading. Look at the color. I think I like the texture that they use here. Not overly done like they have done with other pieces. I feel that you don't need too much texture. It looks great. It looks like leather in one way with the paint job, but it looks great. Another angle. At certain angles, it looks great. I think they chose the best pose for him. That pose always works well with him. And I can see the boots. So it does have a little modern touches. That's part of what they're doing. They're going for classic, but they do also add some, modern touches. And you can see that with the soles of his shoes. Look at that. Love this. I love this. I used to own the Sideshow PF, the original, the OG, and I really love that PF. Even though it has people were not happy with in this case the mixed media, I really love that piece, and the portrait was amazing. And one thing I love about that statue was in this case the arms, the claws, well done, and this one is close to it. I really love that. It has some big hands. Oh wow! As you can see right there, it's not as I would say as bad. It's just it's more like a cartoony style right there, but it's not bad at all. This angle looks great as well. I think this is gonna be the best angle to display him. One of the best angles on the sides. Look at that. They also did the cut there. It looks like he was cut with some type of ray or fire laser or something. He was perfectly cut. Maybe it was not really Sabretooth cutting it. It was someone else. And he just is standing on top of it, of what wreckage was left. But look at that. Really great. Let me go back to this picture. I like this picture. That's a nice angle. Really nice. Very muscular. Very good. My concern here is the upper lip is kind of small. And this one is, thicker. And of course, the big teeth. So it's like he never closes his mouth. You can with a tiny. So yeah, it is very cartoony, very exaggerated, but it is at the end of the day, it's a representation of a comic book character, so there has to be some exaggeration. I wouldn't say it's bad. I think it's great. The paint job is great. Yeah, a couple of things, nitpicks from my part. I love the fur that they use, and the color they use looks very nice. And it looks very nice. I love it. Definitely, it's a throwback to the video game era, the Marvel vs. Capcom. It's a throwback to Jim Lee, to in this case to the 90s. So in my opinion, it's great. It's a nice piece. It's a great addition. Even with the nitpicks, still a great addition to the collection. All right, now we're moving on to Omega Red, and as you can see, Omega Red BDS R Scale 110 Marvel Comics. Again, the price is just the standard $169.99. You can pay in full. You can choose the payment plan. And let's read the description. It says, emerging unturned pieces of Sentinels on the rubble of the alicerces of Mansion X, the red-white mutant known as Omega Red is revealed by Iron Studios to add in its colossal BDS battle diorama, X-Men vs. Sentinels, a former soldier and convicted serial killer from the former USSR. The mutant Arkady Grigorievich Rosovich was used in a Soviet super soldier project that left his skin white and turned him into a cyborg with retractable tentacles implanted in his arms. Made of radioactive carbon dioxide, a malleable variation of adamantium, which they use as a weapon or to drain the life forces of their victims. His carbon dioxide implants are great weapons, but they also poison him slowly, so he is forced to regularly drain a person's vital energy or take small amounts from several individuals to temporarily maintain his immune system. So this vampiric tendency is essential to his survival. So here you see Omega Red BDS R Scale 110. It's scale 110, limited edition, made in polystone, hand painted. The dimensions, weights 1.6 pounds. So it's a bit lighter, just a tiny little bit lighter than Sabretooth, but it's very similar. And this is going to, according to this, it's going to release in second quarter of 2021. So it's not going to release probably till later next year. So now let's look at the picture. I love this design. I'll tell you one thing. And I gotta be honest with this. There hasn't been that many Omega Red. Omega Red has always been bypassed by many companies. The only company that really cared to do something for Omega Red was, of course, Baldwin Designs. And even though that piece is highly sold out, I was never really crazy about the Baldwin Designs. I think it was a bit too thin, in my opinion. It was in the early stages, in the mid stages of Baldwin Designs. With the full scale statues, so it's not like I was always crazy about it, but still it's a great piece. I'm not denying it. It might have some imperfections here and there, but that's all it is. But there hasn't been anything else. Sideshow hasn't done it. Big companies are not doing it. There's a lot of private commissioners doing it, and we haven't seen nothing formal yet. I think now some companies are working towards that. I think XM is working towards it. if I'm not mistaken. But of course, Iron Studios finally had something, like this, and in my opinion, looks great. I also gotta let you know. At some point, I was even talking to a friend trying to get a private commission, just for us, for just to do an Omega Red, and we were planning and thinking and coming with ideas, and we even talked to a sculptor trying to work with around it. But at the end of the day, it didn't pan out. It didn't work out as well. So we just kind of passed it or left it on the back burner for a while. So we haven't really talked about it for a while. But in my opinion, this is great. This is a great addition. Even if it's 110, this is great. Look at this. They chose a perfect pose for the character. When I saw the first time the picture, I was I'm not crazy about the pose. But now that I look at it more and more, I can say that they opted for the best option. And as you can see right there, love the design. Definitely nice paint job. Nice red. Love everything. Love even his tentacles. They look great. This might be a bit, cumbersome and, a bit fragile too in the end, but man, they look great. Hopefully they're not as fragile, because if they're just, in this case, resin or polystone, they might break. So you have to be very careful with this one. If it, it falls on the front, then you break the whole thing. And so that's my only concern. Yes, safety. But beyond that, man, they have a nice choice there. Look at that. Great angle, great pose, great anatomy. The face looks perfect. Everything looks fine to me. It has some detail, of course. They modernized the version. I even like the paint job and the shading they use in his arms, kind of bluish, to give the more the vampire look that he has in the skin. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. This is one that came out of the left field. I wasn't expecting this one at all. But look at that. Look at that face. That is a perfect face. It's a perfect portrait. You don't need to change anything. Doesn't need to switch out heads. I think this is just perfect the way it is. Look at that. Maybe some people might point out that some of the tentacles might be, with the little Sharpie things on the side. You might, get rid of those and still gonna look perfect if it's just more like a flat thing, flat surface. But beyond that, I like it. I do. I think they knock it out of the park with this one. Look at that. Yeah, wow. Man, I'm really impressed with this one. The more I see it, the more I like it. They add this red just for, to add the power that flows through him. But yeah, it looks great. It looks great. You might say that it's kind of small in comparison, but it's just because, his hunch right there. But beyond that, they did a good job. It is a perfect depiction of Omega Red, and kudos for that. All right, now we're moving to the last piece that was revealed this week, which is Bishop. Bishop BDS Art Scale 110, Marvel Comics. This is more expensive, and this is my only concern. I really don't know why it's more expensive than Sabretooth or Omega Red. I don't think he has more detail than them, but we're going to look into that in a moment. Now, $179.99, that's the price. You can pay in full. You can choose the payment plan. Now, let's look at the description. The atmosphere of the 90s with his most classic look, Lucas Bishop joins the golden team of the X-Men in fighting the Sentinels. The mutant policeman from an alternative dystopian future where the Sentinels dominated America returns to our timeline to add his experience and strength to his childhood heroes and idols in the struggle to defeat the Sentinels and change a possible tragic future. With a heat microwave energy accumulated in his left hand because his power allows him to absorb energy projected against him and revert against opponents, and carrying his futuristic plasma rifle in his right hand. Bishop BDS Art Scale 110, Marvel Comics from Iron Studios, climbs the remains of the furniture and floor of Mansion X, devastated by the robots under Magneto's control. And Bishop BDS Art Scale 110, Marvel Comics, licensed Marvel Comics, and features limited edition, made in polystone, hand painted, and the dimensions right there, and it weighs 1.3 pounds. So it weighs less than Sabretooth, and it weighs less than Omega Red, but it's more expensive than those two. To me, I don't get it. I don't understand that idea. Now, the second quarter of 2021 is when it's supposed to be released. Of course, that's not going to happen probably till later next year. I'm not gonna deny it. This is a gorgeous piece. It is gorgeous. I have no reasons to complain about it. I love it. I'm just not sure about the price point. It's $10 more or a little over $10 more than the other. I don't know. Some people will say, well, why are you arguing about $10? $10 or $10 when you're buying so many pieces. There's so many added. So it's like every bit helps. So definitely you have to keep that in mind. Now, I love this piece. Bishop is a character that also hasn't seen as much love from big companies. Although Bowen Designs, in my opinion, the best, and until now, even better than this. I'm loving the detail here, but I'm always going to love the one from Bowen Designs, the one that I reviewed years ago in this channel, the one that's sculpted by the Kucharik brothers. I love that piece. It's amazing. The pose is perfect. It's a great depiction of Bishop. I think this comes in second. This one has more detail though. It's more detailed than that one, but of course it's smaller. But I think the pose on the other one is more, I don't know, it feels more like Bishop in my opinion. But the pose, this is Bishop all around. I'm not saying that this doesn't look at Bishop at all. I love the detail here. I love the depiction. There's been some custom pieces and the 1/4 scale that also been amazing too. But still, I think the Kucharik brothers did a fantastic job and still stands up to this day. And I think now Iron Studios is really getting really close. And definitely this one has a lot of detail. I would say in the end, possibly it's going to be better in quality with the paint job. We don't know yet until it's released, officially to the customers. But here, look at this. Prototype looks fantastic. Love the face. It's a nice depiction. The bonus says that his eyes were white. Here they have color. That's a nice touch. Love the hair, the M in his face. The pose. They did a fantastic job. Love the weathering. Love the shading. Great job. Even love the clear resin they use here. Of course, they put some color on it. It looks more brighter than what it is. But looks great. Love all the detail. Of course, there's some modern touches. But definitely, this is the 90s look all around, all through. And I really love that. Really like that. Yeah, the resin looks fantastic. Great. But, the base is simple, and it should be. That's a big weapon right there he's carrying with him. Really, I love this one. And it seems that now this pose is becoming, and I gotta be honest, it seems like every piece has this kind of pose right now from that. Before I remember, we have the Captain Morgan pose with the bended knee, and this still has the bended knee. But now they're hunching the backs of most characters, like they doing more this. This is becoming the norm in most pieces from Sideshow, from XM, from everybody else. Not only the bended knee, but also pretty much the character lunging forward. So it's normal. It's a very classic, iconic, battle-ready type of pose that it looks good. So they use it. Look at this one. Again, I love the portrait. Nice first face portrait. Love the detail, the weathering in his clothing, all of that, in his pouches. Love the way they did here. This clear resin looks fantastic. I actually like this more than how they did it with the Bowen Designs. Those are huge boots right there that he's carrying. A lot of detail, broken pieces. What remains of the in this case the X Mansion X. Look at that. Cool. Definitely this is a great piece. Look at this. Actually, that's not that small. If you put the height all the way to the tip of the gun, it's good. Of course, this is lighter, so of course the concern is how is it that is more expensive. But again, this is a great piece. A lot of people perhaps might skip on Omega Red, on Sabretooth. But I'm sure that a lot of people are not going to skip on this one. In my opinion, this looks better than their cable. Well, guys, there you have it. Definitely, these pieces are amazing. And Iron Studios is just killing it. I seen so many comments. I heard a lot of comments online on Facebook groups where people are complaining about the scale. They would prefer something bigger, like a 1/6, of course, and a 1/4, which it seems that everyone thinks that 1/4 is the only scale that matters. But if you come to think of it, you don't have to be a mathematician to understand scales. You have to only know that if you are looking for a 1/6 scale or even a 1/4 scale, you're looking for a really huge piece in this case. You're gonna need a house just to display a Sentinel that scale. So, that's not feasible. So I think this is a perfect scale for it. I don't think it's nothing wrong with having smaller scales. At the end of the day, it matters. What matters is what you prefer, what you like, and what really looks good. And these pieces look great. Now, again, I have maybe some nitpicks here and there with the characters or the way that they portray the characters. For example, with Sabretooth, I'm not really crazy about in this case, the face portrait. If you have followed my channel, you know that I have a Sabretooth that normally displays in the back, if you can see it right there. But I love this. This was private commissioned by Eric Sosa. But as you can see, I love this. This is Jim Lee to me all through. I love the open mouth, and I love the closed mouth. Of course, this is private commission, so it's not like you can, everyone can have one. But this is what I like. This is a display that looks better for me. This mouth looks better to me. The same as the original Sideshow piece. I love that. So I'm not crazy about the more cartoony style, but ultimately the piece is great. The sculpture is great. The whole physique is great. And Bishop, of course, and Omega Red, they look fantastic. So in my opinion, Iron Studios is doing it the right way. Another concern would be the price point, of course. That's something that a lot of people are feeling the heat right now with this economy that is affecting all of us around the world. So that's my concern, is the price point, and of course releasing all of this all at once, pretty much, because it's back to back to back, which adds to pretty much the burn or the burden. That would be a better word. The burden to your wallet. So yeah, it's a lot to be concerned about. It's like everything released at once. Can everyone be able to get everything? Not everyone can. So yeah, that's a concern. But beyond that, I think Iron Studios is really killing it and is doing fantastic. And even though we are not going to have like in this case, San Diego Comic-Con this year, they're releasing everything through their digital services, through Facebook and through other services. And in my opinion, it's great. It really works great. But what is your opinion? What do you think? Are you a fan of these? Are you going to add this to the collection? Are you going to pass them? Let me know the reasons why in the comments below. So once again, my friends, thanks for watching. God bless you. Take care, and I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.